Have you ever been in a reading slump? Odds are you probably have. I am kind of in one right now. I'm not sure if this is a slump or a funk. It's a reading something. And so I thought I would share a video on different ways that I try to get out of a reading slump. Now, sometimes these can be really long. I remember after university, I didn't read for fun for probably 4 years because I just got so burnt out on reading books that I had to read that I did not enjoy. But if you are a regular reader, usually reading slumps are not quite so long. So I wanted to share a few tips for different things to try to get out of them. I don't think all of these tips are going to work for every person or necessarily in every season. You might have to try all of them. This is the process that I am in right now to get out of my reading slump / reading funk thing that I've got going on. A little bit of a disclaimer. I know for myself that I don't read as much in the summer. And so maybe your reading slump is a seasonal thing that will change without you having to do anything. Because our weather is so frigid cold here in the winter, that's a great time to read. And the summer is usually the perfect time to get out and do things. And so I generally am more interested in doing things than reading. So I know that about myself, but I still want to be reading more than I am in the summer. So there's that balance of realizing this is a season, so don't freak out too much, but also trying to push myself because I also want to be reading. It's a bit of a conundrum is what it is. Okay, my first tip, if you are in a reading slump, you just can't get into your book, it's just not catching your attention, the first thing to do, quit the book. If you are not the kind of person that ever quits a book, you can tell yourself, this is not a forever quit. You're just putting it off to the side for now. You can come back to it later when you're in a different reading mood. If you are the person that is okay with completely quitting a book and the idea of having that just checked off, crossed off, gives a little bit of relief, this is me giving you permission. If you feel like you need it, I'm giving you permission to quit your book. The nice thing about quitting a book, whether you are completely DNFing it or it's like a little bit of a soft DNF, maybe you'll come back to it, is you'll find out, is this a little bit of a mood that you're in? Is the mood the problem? Or was it the book? Because sometimes books can put us into a reading slump. Hence my 4-year break from reading, because my university books put me into a slump big time. So once you've quit your troublesome read, the next thing to do is try a book. But what do you try? My first tip would be try a different genre. And this is where I'm at this summer. I read a variety of genres here. I like fantasy, science fiction, historical fiction, mysteries, nonfiction. I have a broad spectrum, which is sometimes a little bit of a problem. Sometimes there's a little bit of decision fatigue. But if you find you've been reading books in a specific genre, or the one that you just finished was a specific one, try something different. So what's actually working for me this summer is nonfiction. For whatever reason, I am in the mood for nonfiction. And so I have like 6 or 7 books on the go because, I mean, I often have a number of books on the go, but nonfiction is different in the fact that a lot of the ones that I'm reading are kind of the read a chapter a day, mull it over kind of books. So I'm reading a chapter a day out of a bunch of different books. But if you have been, I don't know, in a historical fiction binge mood, but now all of a sudden you don't want to read any, try a classic or a fantasy or something different. Try a mystery. See if maybe you just need a little bit of a genre switch. If that's not really working for you, or you want to try something else, something that I did last weekend is I did a try a chapter. I went over to my TBR cart and pulled out a few books that looked interesting to me at the moment and tried reading the first chapter of each of them and then ranking them in that order so that maybe I don't have to read the ones that were on the bottom, but then the one that was on the top, maybe that's the next read that I should try. My next tip is do the opposite of what you're currently doing in regards to your TBR, your to be read pile. Are you a choose a monthly, seasonal, whatever it may be, pile of books to read? Or are you a mood reader? Whatever it is you are, try the other way. So if you are normally a mood reader, try picking out like 4 books that look interesting right now and saying these are the next 4 books that I'm going to read. Honestly, you don't have to go and read those 4 books in order, but try to convince yourself that's what you're doing, and maybe that will help you. Maybe you just need a little bit more structure. I know sometimes when I'm mood reading, I get overwhelmed by all the possibilities and want to read all the books and therefore read none of the books. If you are a bit more of a TBR pile creator, I know some people that are so structured that they read the books in the order they purchase them, and that is just how they read them through. That is not me, but I do make a TBR each month, and sometimes when I'm in a reading funk slump thing, I just go off the rails, go mood read. Just pick out some books that look interesting to me in the moment, even if it's not one that I said I was going to read, even if there's other books that I should be reading. I find if I can get out of a reading slump, I can read faster and it will increase my reading. So whatever it is you normally do, try doing the opposite. My next tip is to watch some BookTube. There are so many recommendations on BookTube. Find a couple booktubers that seem to have similar interests to you and start keeping a list of books that sound interesting. Sometimes I don't even need to watch BookTube to get inspired to read a book that they're talking about at the moment. Just watching some BookTube inspires me to read in general. Another thing you can do if you are in a reading slump is try short books. There is something to checking a book off that feels very satisfactory. And if you're, this happened to me actually recently. I had a thick book from the library that I wanted to read, but I knew with my current reading mood, a thick book was going to make things worse. So try picking some short books. I have a couple different recommendation videos on my channel with short book recommendations. I'll leave them listed in the description, those videos, so that you can check them out. The benefit of a short book is it doesn't take very much time and you've completed something. And sometimes that just starts the snowball effect that one needs to therefore go and read some longer books. I am not a big rereader, but this year I created a list of books that I want to reread, and I think that is a really good way to try to get out of your slump. Pick a favorite book that you want to reread and spend some time in a world that you know that you love. You could also do something that I need to do. I did this recently downstairs and I need to do it very soon for all my books upstairs, and that is organize your bookshelves. Because sometimes just the physical motion of picking up a book and looking at it can be like, hey, yes, I actually really want to read this book. And so if you take some time to organize your shelves, 1, your shelves will get cleaned out. I still feel really good since I did that downstairs. And 2, maybe you'll pull off a few that will be like, yes, I want to read these like now. Maybe you won't even finish organizing your shelves. You'll just get partway through and start reading a book. That I think would probably happen to a lot of us. Soon I will be organizing my shelves here, and I need to update my TBR cart, and I think I should do that sooner rather than later to help that inspiration to dive into a really good book. A fun way to try to get out of a reading slump is join a reading challenge. There are so many reading challenges just on BookTube alone, and maybe the little bit of structure of a certain prompt to fulfill will help you pick up a book that maybe you weren't thinking of picking up at the time, and maybe that will inspire your reading. I know I've got a couple different reading challenges I'm joining in on this summer. I have 2 that I have created for the year. Every year I do my Read Your Bookshelf challenge, which is a year-long reading challenge, that comes with a $100 gift card for one winner at the end. And this year I'm doing my year of mod, where I'm reading one L.M. Montgomery book each month. But there are endless reading challenges and different types of reading challenges even on BookTube. Find one of those, see if that can inspire your reading. And then another kind of jump off of that, every month over on my Patreon, we do what we call a page count reading challenge, where we all set a goal of a certain number of pages to read for either, sometimes we'll do a weekend, sometimes we'll do a week, and then we try to hit that goal. It's a personal goal. No one's gonna come after you if you don't hit your goal. And sometimes people will pick a different goal. It's not a page count related. Maybe it's just like, I want to make progress in this book, or I want to finish these 3 books I have on the go, or whatever it may be. But creating some kind of personal goal, whether it's a page count goal or some other kind of reading goal, especially if you have that accountability with a community, can really jump that reading. Sometimes that means if you really want to hit your goal, maybe you're going to pick up a manga or a graphic novel to really jump those pages. And what I like to do when we're doing a longer reading challenge and I'm feeling good about my page numbers, maybe I'm reading some free verse books, I like to build a stack so I can see my physical stack of completed books building, and that motivates me to read more. 2 more tips. Next one, go to a bookstore, or if you're absolutely broke, go to a library. You could just browse. You don't have to purchase anything from the bookstore, but sometimes just looking at all the book covers and what's available, checking out some of the interior illustrations that you can't see if you're not like flipping through a book, can just be really inspiring. Maybe go to a thrift store if you are kind of on the broke end, or you like looking for a really good deal. That can really inspire me. And then my final tip is just take a break. Maybe set yourself, like, say 1 week. I'm gonna not read for 1 week. Don't let it drag on too long. I think it's good to kind of put an end to it and then start forcing yourself. But allow yourself just to do something different for a bit. Pick up a different hobby. It's that whole idea of kind of a change of scenery. You know the saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder? Well, maybe if you take a break from reading, you'll want to do it more and enjoy it more. So those are my tips for a reading slump. These are things that I am currently doing and working through to try to motivate my reading. So far, changing up the genre is really working for me. The try a chapter has been really good. I want to go thrifting really bad and look at some books, maybe purchase a few, and organize my bookshelves. Like, this is literally my own list. Hopefully this helps you guys if you are in a reading slump. If you guys have other tips of what you like to do when you're feeling kind of slumpy, please leave them in the comments. They will be helpful to me and others. So thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you guys aren't in a reading slump, or if you are, you get out of it really soon.